Handy here. Welcome to Honest tutorial on MicroK8s. So previously, I've tried to create a deployment, specifically deployment for testing MySQL and WordPress. Okay, which one is it? This one. And okay, I'll show you how it went before. So if I try to use the original way, just using MicroK8s kubectl -k and this, okay, apply. So what happened is that kubectl is unable to find this file, although actually I have these files in my computer, and the reason is because this file is only in my computer but not in the VM where the MicroK8s is running. Okay, so if I do this, I know that there is a VM running here, but these files aren't there. So what is the solution? The nicer solution is that I have to use kubectl running on my own computer. So if I do this, okay, can kubectl cluster info. Okay, I see that this cluster is running, but I also have my own kubectl file that this is not working because I have not configured it. Okay, so I can download this kubectl program using PowerShell download and so on. So you can install, where is it? That one. Okay, so there are several ways, and I think the best way is by using install with PowerShell. But how do we configure this? Well, fortunately, MicroK8s is giving away so that we can get the kubeconfig, this one, and we can use it with the kubectl in Windows. So what we have to do is that, but the problem is if I just copy paste this, the problem is that these won't be like the right way, but let me try this. Okay, so let me copy this, and then I will create a new file and then paste this. Okay, and I create a new file. Okay, I can copy paste this, and then I save this file into the kube folder here. Okay, so I can put this into the kube folder and then name this as config, just config and without any extension. Okay, the file name isn't valid. That's weird. Okay, so we have this config file, and then we can try by running kubectl cluster info. Now this kubectl is able to see my MicroK8 Kubernetes cluster. Okay. So let's see how it works in practice. I want to check out the dashboard first before I deploying this WordPress deployment. I will set up port forwarding. So now I need to get the service for this Kubernetes dashboard. So I will set up port forwarding. I will port forward for the Kubernetes dashboard. I'll use port 10443 to port 443. Okay, I think I have to use the and I have to use this address. Okay, because without this, then it will use the like a cluster IP, not this one. Okay, so now I should be able to access this. Okay, and let's try. I have to know what is the IP address, but let me try it. This one. Okay, this should be HTTPS. Okay. Okay, this is very nice. So when I do the port forwarding, now I can access this Kubernetes dashboard by just using the local host. So I don't have to know what is the IP address of the micro Kubernetes VM. So this is the nice thing if I use my own kubecontrol in Windows rather than using the kubecontrol program that is inside the micro Kubernetes VM. Okay, so I have the token here already. Okay, so now I have the dashboard. Okay, so I see that I want to deploy. So I go here, and now I should be able to deploy this customization file. By running kubecontrol apply MicroK8 this one. Okay, so this is created, and let's see that this is the deployments in the Kubernetes dashboard. So it is running. Okay, deployments. It's nice, available, progressing. So let me see the pods. Okay, it's running. Okay, so how do I access this WordPress? I have to access it by getting to the services, and now, okay, this is still in progress. WordPress 1. Okay, so now we have these endpoints. Okay, so let's check if I can access this. It says that I can access using this IP and with port 80. Okay, this doesn't seem to work. So let's see if I can access this using the micro Kubernetes inside the micro Kubernetes. I go to multipass shell micro Kubernetes VM, and I try to crawl inside that. Okay, so it seems that actually this is accessible from inside the VM. So how do we access that from the Windows OS host? Now there are several ways. The first one is that we can do port forwarding like before. So how do we use port forwarding? First we check the, okay, so I have WordPress here. So what I can do is that I can create a port forward for this WordPress. Okay, service WordPress, and I will forward maybe like 1080 to the port 80 here, right? Okay, so let's try if this works. Now, I should be able to access this from 1080. Okay, yep, I can access this. Okay, so it seems that by using kubecontrol in my own computer, not inside the micro Kubernetes, I don't have to specify --address 0.0.0.0. Okay, so this is the quickest way to access by using port forwarding. So is there another way? Another way is that we can use node port. So by using node port means that we are using the external IP address of the node. Okay, so if you see here the WordPress service, okay, endpoints, okay, it doesn't really like giving the external IP information. Okay, so in the WordPress one, you see that there is no external endpoint. And if we check here, you can see that the external IP is pending. So what if we want to use the external IP? Okay, and we can try by doing kubecontrol get service WordPress describe. Okay, actually there is this endpoints. Okay, 10.1.77.28, but as we have tried before, this is not accessible from the Windows machine. It's only accessible from the micro Kubernetes VM. So if I want to access this directly, what I can do is that I'm using the IP address of the VM and then exposing it to an external IP. And if you see here, actually there is a node port here, 30522. Let's see if this is information is also available in the, okay, so this one, right? I think in the dashboard, okay, it's weird that this information is not visible in the dashboard. Okay, but as I know that the IP address of the VM is this one, so in theory I should be able to access this at port 3522. But yeah, I can access it, but using a port of 3522. So what if we want to expose this in port in another port? So if we want to expose this to another port, what we can do is that I think we can try by, okay, by changing the type to node port. Okay, let's try changing the type to node port. And actually this is this is not how it's supposed to be, but let's try if this works. Okay, it's already configured, and let's see if this works now. Okay, first I will check. Okay, now endpoints is this on port 80, so this is what we want, right? Port 80. But let's see if this actually works. Okay, it's refused to connect. And why is this? Oh, so we can see that the node port here is still 3522. Okay, so we cannot access it using this port, but we should be able to access it using this port 3522. And okay, let's see what happens. Not by changing the node port, but by adding the external IPs here. Okay, so instead of we try to let Kubernetes assign the get the default IP address, we'll specify that this service WordPress should bind to the network interface that is using the IP of the VM, and we can leave the type as load balancer. Okay, so let's try. Okay, it's configured, and then I can describe the WordPress service. Okay, the endpoints here are still using this IP address, and the node port is still 3522. Let's see if we can still access this using this port. We can still access it using this port, and let's try what happens if I access it on port 80. Okay, now we can access this at port 80. So by adding the external IP here, now we can access the WordPress instance using port 80. So if you are using MicroKubernetes and you want to expose a service in the Kubernetes to the outside world, then if you don't want to use the automatically assigned port here, like 3522, then make sure that you specify the external IP that you want to use, so that you can use the port that you want, for example port 80, and then you can access the application that you want to use using the port that you want, that is port 80 here, not using dynamically assigned port. But what I'm still a bit confused is why the endpoints here are still saying that IP is 10.1.77.28, although I specify the external IP here, and well, I can prove that this is working from I can access it from port 80 by using the IP address of the VM. Okay, so I hope this is useful for you. Micro Kubernetes, you can look at the dashboard, setting up port forwarding, and setting up kubectl in your own computer, and setting up the kubeconfig, and also expose the services here. Okay, so just to close it, it's been quick to run this WordPress, so it should be just as quick to delete this WordPress from Kubernetes. It's gone. Okay, see you on the next tutorial.